I'm going to drink some of this go-go juice that my good lady's made for me. Apparently, it's going to do me the world of good.
Greetings, Groovers. How are you doing? Welcome to Full Record Jacket with Phil and Ben. Yes, I'm Phil, and that is Ben. So, Ben, a random discussion. We like doing those, don't
Yes,
we?
we do. We do. You said before we came on air, it would be like being down the pub. So I've leant over, and as you can see, last night I had a glass and a bit of wine. So I might just drink some wine from the bottle and give it that pubby feel. If I'm drinking it from the bottle, it will give you that uncouth feel of being in that popular high street chain of pubs where the guy who runs it's a bit of a dead end.
I thought you'd want to do like a Liam Gallagher and have a bottle of, was it Beck's that he was holding on one of their albums or one of their
Is it
singles?
Beck's? Yes, I think it
Was
is.
it cigarettes and alcohol? I presume it must have been cigarettes and alcohol. Isn't he holding a bottle up on one of those singles? I don't know why I don't know why I started this, but
have I got the singles in? I've only got the albums. I think it is cigarettes and alcohol. What you say about that? I did. Obviously, you know that I got this because it was on the short that I posted the other day. I got a little 7-incher.
that was whatever, wasn't it? That one.
Yeah, it is whatever. Yeah. Obviously, only being 7 inches, a bit inferior to 12 inches, apparently, according to some. It doesn't come with the full 4 tracks on it like the CD single did. So
is it just have a conventional single B side on there?
It does. It's good to be free.
Oh, okay. I thought it might be Half the World Away, but
No. What was the other track? Was it Slide Away Live?
I think it was just the original version of Slide Away because you always tended to get 3 new songs because that wasn't the A side wasn't on an album. What you normally got was a track that was on an album and 3 songs that were exclusive to the single. Because the A side was exclusive to the single, they stuck an album track on the end. I think that's what they did. So it's just the regular Slide Away.
Slide Away, yeah. No, what is it? There is which single? I should know this. There is a single and it's got a live version of Live Forever. Is it Shaker Maker?
I think that might be Roll With It.
Is it Roll With It? Quite possibly, yeah.
I think it's Live Forever live at Glastonbury.
Yeah. It is. Yeah,
Don't ask me how I remember that. I just do.
It is because that Slide Away is on this one, isn't it? Slide Away is the one on this. Yeah.
The studio album version.
Album, yeah. Was it Roll With It? Roll With It had Better People and Rocking Chair, didn't it?
Did that also have Live at Glastonbury? Live Forever Live at Glastonbury?
It did, yeah. Live at Glastonbury for 95. It was live. It was from because Roll With It got released in the August, and it was from their June performance at Glastonbury, wasn't it? So
they put that together quite quickly, didn't they? That one.
Yeah, it's Better People. I like that track. It's better people love one another because living a life can be tough.
So, apart from these Oasis reminiscences, what have you actually been listening to?
Well, as you can tell, I've not listened to this. Still in the cellophane. But this week, you can see I've had my MOR week on the turntable. I went from the jazz that was on the week before, which was this one, if you remember.
I remember the sorry, remind me, what's his name again?
Reynold Colom, and the album A Million Dreams. So I listened to that. It was good. And then I was doing some housework yesterday, put a bit of the Lighthouse Family on, because I thought Phil said it's okay, because I told you,
I said it was okay. Right, let's not go. Let's not.
You said they off of filming this. You said they are the greatest, most influential artists, possibly of the last 30 years. Was your words?
Best band ever. Yeah.
So, and I needed something soothing because, as you know, and regular people who watch this and see our little posts did see the picture that I sent to Phil on Friday night of the job I wish I hadn't started, where I decided to put my vinyl collection in its entirety in alphabetical order. Now, I did realise, because I got these, I'll show you what I got. Now, I'm going to have to pull something out just to remind me where it goes, because I don't want to lose place. But I got these things. And as you can see, that's a Z. Or if you're from across the water and speak all funny, a Z. Which I actually prefer Z. Z sounds better and cooler. So I've got them. So I thought, and it's been bugging me for a little while because about 6 years ago, when I had about 750, 800 albums, I put them all into actual alphabetical order. And that took the best part of 12 hours to do. It broke me, literally. I was a husk of a man by the time I'd finished. So I thought, well, I'm not going to do that this time. The bulk of them were still in that order, but the additional 800 I have bought in the meantime were in alphabetical order, but in alphabetical order in these calyxes. So each block they're in were in alphabetical order. So I literally had to strip everything out, and I literally just put all the A's together, and then all the B's. But when I put all the B's together, so the band, I've made sure they're all together, the Beatles are all together, the Bee Gees are all together. Everything else is just in the B's. But I've done all that. It took 6.5 hours, and all I can say is, once again, I am broken beyond all manner of the word broken. And it doesn't look any different. I'm looking at my collection now. It doesn't look any different to what it did the other day, apart from the Beatles box sets are now with the albums. And I know that doesn't answer the question of what I've been listening to, but I just thought I'd share that horrific Friday story with you.
So you can now find anything that you want to listen to, though, can't you?
Well, if I know the alphabet, and if I want to listen to, say, I don't know, let's just go for the Jarvis album by Jarvis Cocker, I know it's in the J's. The only trouble is, there's a heck of a lot of albums, as you well know, that I have not listened to, and I used to keep them when I buy them. I've got these. I'll show you it. I've got these down by, which, as you can see, got a couple of albums in. So I'd put all the newer ones in there because that would be like, oh, this is my listening trough. This is the trough I'm going to feed from to listen to what's going on next. Well, I've emptied them out. So everything is now in there. And I don't know where anything is that I need to listen to. So
can't you just look over your purchases record on?
Well, because I'm a creature of anility, I have everything in my Discogs account, and that lists, so I can just scroll through that and find it. So, but in regards to what I've been listening to, yeah, I've listened to the Lighthouse Family, and obviously, don't mock me, people. I like the Lighthouse Family, and my dad bought me that. So, if you've got any beef, his name's Colin, and he lives in a house. And if you message me, I'll give you the address, and you can go around and slap him. I listened to the new single by the Stereophonics, which is okay. There's always going to be something. I know you're not a massive Stereophonic song.
What's it
fan.
like? What have they done?
Stereophonic stuff.
Sounds
it's very
they haven't done a new direction or anything like that.
No. It's good. It's catchy, but I'm a bit torn because they've got a new album coming out, and I haven't really bought any Stereophonics albums. I bought the first sort of 4 or 5. So Word Gets Around, Performance and Cocktails, Just Enough Education to Perform. You've got to Go There to Come Back, and Sex, Language, Violence, Other. So the first 5 albums I really enjoyed. Then Pull the Pin and a few of them afterwards I sort of fell out of love with. And then I sort of got a couple of their late 10s albums. But their new album's only got 8 tracks on it. And to me, that's is that on the limit of an album? Is it? That sounds to me more like an EP than an
That's
album.
a 70s album, isn't it? Really, because when
Yeah,
you
8
think about it,
tracks.
that's like yeah, there's albums from the 70s that got 8 tracks on.
Yeah, I mean, Morning
Some have
Glory
7.
technically's only got 10, hasn't it? Really?
I mean, uh, who was 9? 9 was a common number in the 70s.
Yeah, yeah.
Led Zeppelin, Houses of the Holy. That's 8 songs on there.
Oh, that is there. I can
In
see
Through
it
the
from here.
Outdoor, Led Zeppelin, In Through the Outdoor, 7 songs on that one. Some of the rock bands that did long songs could sometimes have 7 songs on an album.
Or if you like
So,
Pink Floyd, or
yeah, you could
Jean-Michel
have that.
Jarre, where you've got 1 track.
Yeah, or Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here. There's
Yeah,
not a huge number on there, is there? Is it 5 or something like that?
yeah, yeah. There's not a
Um,
massive amount, is there?
so have Stereophonics gone prog rock? They got 8 songs on the album, or they just gone for a 40-minute album and the songs are 4 minutes each, and they've done a long epic song as well. Is that what they've done?
Yeah, they've thrown in a cover version of All Round the World.
Maybe.
Yeah, yeah, so I've listened to that, and it is very stereophonic, and I do like Kelly Jones. And the thing I'll say about the Stereophonics is they're very meat and potatoes. You know when it gets served up, you know what you're going to get, you know what to expect. So you're very rarely disappointed because the bar is only so high. They're not going to be experimental, and they're not going to come out as some gothic jazz, country, and western funk fusion band.
I'm not going to do a Kid A or
No. So I listened to a bit of that. I've still been listening a little bit to the Liam Gallagher and John Squire album. I've also been listening to an artist called Jalar there, mainly because and I'll get it out. Mainly because I bought the album, so I've been listening to a little bit of that. But I've had a couple of songs on repeat, Phil. Which me and my daughter were coming back. I picked her up from Stratford upon Avon, and it's her 16th birthday tomorrow, Phil. I am in charge. I have created and made a 16-year-old. I know what you're thinking, people out there, but how can you? You only look 22. And I'm like, I know, I'm like Peter Pan. She got me listening to some Nicki Minaj. Is it Nicki Minaj? Nicki Meringue? Or whatever her name is.
is that the rapper?
Yeah.
Okay, she's the one who's done things. She's appeared with Madonna on records and
yes.
stuff. She's been around a while. She's not, totally new.
No. So we listened to a little bit of that, and I'm just trying to find in. Ah, here we go. So we listened to. Is it The Season of the Sticks by Noah Khan? Khan?
I don't know.
He's very good. Very sort of Ed Sheeran-esque. It's the season of the yeah. So listen to that. That was quite good. We listened a little bit of Eminem. Is it Monster? Not Monster. Not the track Monster. We listened to Houdini and then Monster, where he does. There's a rap. Obviously there's a rap in it. It's Eminem. He's not doing gospel. But I think it's in the Guinness Book of Records or something for the most amount of words spoken or the quickest, where they've actually slowed it down, and he does actually say every word. It's phenomenal what he does. So we listened to a little bit of Eminem. I don't mind a bit of Eminem. Do you know what? I can go a long time without listening to him. And listen to him. Well, I should listen to him more often.
Yeah, I wasn't. I do. Yeah, the early stuff. There's some good stuff. I wasn't too thrilled with, because he's done this I'm back again song. He's done it more than once, hasn't he? This is an old trick. He's done it before.
Yeah, well, that's the Houdini song that came out last year, wasn't it?
Is another I'm back. Yeah, I'm back.
Which is clever the way he does it, though. You've got to give it to him.
There's cleverness. I thought I was a bit. I'm like, what is that the one where he's used abracadabra from the Steve?
Yeah, abracadabra.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, it's just another recycled song. I know it's been done before, but he's not the first person to recycle an old song. But I just sometimes get a bit bored with the. I don't mind if they use a little bit of the song or they're a bit creative with it, but when they've just basically taken the chorus and you've used the same chorus again,
Abracadabra.
I'm like a little bit okay. You've just changed a couple of words, but you've used the same tune. Totally.
Yeah. I
And
really enjoy
slightly,
that song. I do like it because
but
he is
it's
mocking
enjoy
himself a little bit.
he is mocking himself. Yeah, I get that. What was he did that one before, didn't he? I'm back. Guess who's back? I'm back again. He did
Yeah.
that back in
Shady's
2000.
Back.
That was
Yeah.
about 20
Tell a
years ago.
friend.
He had it.
Guess who's
Yeah,
back? Guess who's back?
that
Guess
was it.
the one where he sings about Elvis. Embarrassed
Yeah,
by the fact your parents still listen to Elvis.
I think I liked that one. That was a fun one.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
good.
So I
And
do
the one
like
for the
Eminem.
big one from his movie was very good. What was that? The big song that was that was like his felt like his masterpiece.
Lose It. Was it lose? Is it Lose It?
Is it
Lose Yourself? Lose Yourself. Yeah.
That felt like that was almost like his like a Rolling Stone or his
Yeah. Good film. Did you ever watch that 8 Mile?
I did at the time. I saw it at the time it came out.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I enjoyed 8 Mile. I've only seen it the once, but I have seen the rap battles. I have sort of put the rap battles on YouTube a couple of times. I do quite enjoy
You've
them.
probably taken part in a few, haven't you?
Oh, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Philster. I am possibly the greatest rap battler ever.
Do you hang around the Swan Centre at night and do rap battles?
I'm there all the time. People will phone me up and just go, I need some help. And I'm like, why? They're like, I'm rap battling. I'm like, hold my beer, friend. I am coming to dig you out of this hole. And I go down there and bang, it's like bombs being dropped. Boom, 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 boom. Just bodies everywhere. And I'm just like walking away. Woo. Crowds cheer. I mean, to be fair, they were going to saint me. They were going to make Saint Ben. So,
shall I tell you what you showed us the Lighthouse Family, okay?
Yes, yeah. I have been listening to other stuff, not just the Lighthouse Family, but we'll listen to some of yours first, and then
I had a Dadrock moment because
is this your King Harvest?
I listened to a bit of Mark.
I've never really listened to. He's the guy from Dire Straits, isn't he?
Yeah. Now Mark Knopfler, it doesn't. I mean, he could have put this out. Really, almost as it could have put it out under the Dire Straits brand. It's because he didn't change hugely. He went a bit more.
Yeah.
The thing about what I like about Mark Knopfler, his guitar playing is superb. I mean, to me, he's one of the most listenable guitarists. And Mark Knopfler is always, it's basically gruff mumbling with fluid guitar. That's Mark Knopfler.
Do you think he's early shoegaze?
And it's just, there's something about him. I just find him very listenable. And he writes these songs. A lot of these songs are quite mellow. They're about characters and they've got stories in them. And
Didn't he play Live Aid? Didn't he play?
Yeah. Without the guitar playing, it wouldn't be anywhere near as good. But with his guitar playing, it's great. Now, the thing about Mark Knopfler and about Dire Straits, because I did also listen to some Dire Straits from the first album. And Dire Straits were they were basically a pub rock band.
Which was their first album?
It's just called Dire Straits. It's got Sultans of Swing is on it.
Oh, yes. Because when I was sorting out my record collection, I have 4 copies of Brothers in Arms?
Have you?
The one with the blue guitar on the front.
Is this because people the blue sky and the silver?
Yeah. I've got 3 or 4 copies of that.
Guitar.
Yeah.
All on vinyl.
All on vinyl. I've got 3 copies of Double Fantasy.
And these ones people giving you these?
And they're all in mint condition, yeah. And what's the other one I've got a few copies of? I can't remember. It'll come to me. Anyway, back to your Mark Knopfler.
The thing with Dire Straits is, most bands, because I've also listened to The Who, a bit of The Who this week.
Queen's Greatest Hits, that's the other one.
I listened to tracks by The Who that are underrated. I saw someone having an online discussion and asking people to list their tracks by The Who that are underrated.
Yeah.
And I thought it was an interesting list. So I actually made a playlist of these tracks and listened to them when I was on the walk. And so
put a link to it down here, Phil.
There were no big hits. It's just The Who underrated. Anyway, but when you think about bands like The Who, all the classic rock bands, they're now sort of considered dad rock, aren't they, by people? Because it's the bands that your dad liked. Right.
Do you think you've just come up with the title for a top load of greatest hits album? No
What's
big
that?
hits.
No big hit. Could be. um, anyway, what was I trying to say? Yeah, most of those bands that are considered to be dad rock are bands who were originally appealing to the youth culture of the time when they
The
first came
Ute.
out. Right, like your favourite band Oasis, they were at the forefront of the youth culture at the
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
and
People
now I
like
suppose
myself, youth.
and now because you've now got a 16-year-old daughter, Oasis is dad rock. You know,
No,
your daughter must think it's dad rock.
no. I said to her the other day because she said,
Yeah,
when I went out for my birthday, because she went to Milton Keynes, she did some sledging or something. Not like playing cricket and having a go at Australians. She was doing in the, you know, indoor snow thing. And she said, "Oh, me and my three friends on the way back, we're choosing tracks to play." And we all put on our favourite artists. And I went, and she went, "Guess what songs I put on?" I was like, "Oasis." She was like, "Taylor Swift." I was like, "Oasis." And she was like, and then she reeled off something. I was like, "Oh, wait." She went, "Dad, I don't listen to Oasis."
it's dad rock.
And I'm just like, do you know what? I'm not sure if you are my daughter. I think we need to have a DNA test.
It's dad rock. You see, now the thing is with Dire Straits, when Dire Straits first arrived, the Rolling Stones. The Rolling Stones were part of the youth culture
Yeah.
originally. But when Dire Straits first were signed, and when they first had an album out, they arrived as fully formed dad rock. They were never a youth culture act. In fact,
I'd be
Mark
like,
Knopfler, I think, was 27 when they got signed. I think
well, then Noel
so.
Gallagher was 24
Yeah.
when they got 25.
So they were. I know there were some young people who liked them, and I liked them when I was a teenager. But it was never cool to like Dire Straits. They arrived as fully formed, uncool dad rock.
I know that's a lie, Phil, because you were a teenager in 1888.
So, yeah, where was I going with that? Mark Knopfler, dad rock. So, yeah, I did listen to some of that. Now, I also ended up listening to some BBC sessions, and that started because I was playing this CD, which came out a few years ago, and this is
Oh, what's that? Is that the Rolling Stone? Oh, yeah.
it's the
I've
Rolling
never
Stones.
seen that before.
This is this came out in 2017, I think. This was their version of Live at the BBC, as the
Oh,
Beatles
like
had
the
done
Beatles double album.
had done. Yeah, now they're very good quality recordings, the Stones at the BBC.
Yeah.
I think they were. When some people reviewed the Beatles at the BBC, they said, some of these tracks were recorded on Saturday morning. They did that Saturday Club show, and they were sometimes a little bit tired from the night before, and
Oh, yeah.
so they may be not quite as energetic on all of the performances as they were on the studio records. But the Stones sound pretty energetic,
Oh, yeah.
even when they were on Saturday Club. Now there is actually a double CD version of this as well with
So
more,
when did that come
but
out then?
2017. It was all recorded in the 60s. So it goes back to 63, Saturday Club 63 with their first single, Come On. There's a version of Satisfaction from 65. And there
I've
are some
never heard.
songs
I didn't even
here.
know this existed.
Yeah. There's some songs here that were not done anywhere else. There's Cops and Robbers. That I don't think that is on any other Stones album. And their version of Fannie Mae, I don't think that was ever done on any
Yeah.
other album. I don't think they did Roll Over Beethoven on one of their albums either. There's the Stones version of that on here as well. So
Yeah.
that's the
I
Stones
didn't even
on
know.
air.
I didn't know that existed, that album.
It does exist. So there we go. It's an
The
official
Beatles
one.
the Beatles live at the BBC. I don't think it's one of the ones missing from my collection. I remember buying it. Do you remember this the CD man who looked like Noel Gallagher's brother in
Used to sell the used CDs in the local market.
in
Yeah.
the local market? Yeah, I remember buying live at the BBC from him, and that would have been around 96 time. No, I tell you when it was. It was around 97 because I bought off of him Maxwell's Urban Hang Suite.
Okay.
I'm sure I got that from there. But halfway through side one, it jumped. It kept jumping the CD. So I took it back. I've never gone back to it since then.
Well, you can stream it. It's a good historical curio. It's if you
Yeah.
were around at the time, it would be great memories. But I mean, most of the tracks are not as good as the studio versions, but some are a little bit different. There's some good tracks on there. There's John Lennon singing. What's the one that Ringo sings on Beatles for Sale? Honey Don't. There's a version of John Lennon singing Honey Don't. And there's a good version, which I think is the best version of Slow Down. There's a good version of that with Lennon singing on that.
I may have to. I almost bought it a couple of years ago on vinyl. Because there are a few gaps in my Beatles collection. I think I've only got Anthology 1 on vinyl, and I don't have. Obviously, there's loads of gaps, but in the main body, I mean, I've got. Oh, I was just about to say, I've got a framed thing above my floating mantelpiece over here, and it's got all the album covers of Beatles albums on it. And I was going to say, is it part of their arsenal because it's not on there? And it is on there, and there's actually there's two pictures of it, so that proves how much I know. So, but I should maybe give it a listen. But as we know, I just don't have time these days.
They did do a second volume of Live at the BBC as well.
Did they?
There's a second double album of it as well. I think it's called The Beatles on Air, Live at the BBC.
Oh, I have seen that one. I have seen that. Is that the one with the white cover? Am I thinking
it's a lighter colour. It's a similar picture. It's them on the street in London, but I'm
thinking of the Who at the BBC. I think that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, and then it got me thinking. This got me thinking of all the different BBC sessions that have been done over the years. The John Peel show, and all that stuff. And so I decided to start making a playlist of tracks recorded at the BBC.
Yeah,
and I then found the REM live at the BBC box set on streaming.
What about PJ Harvey? She does a good one.
Yeah, there's that as well. The REM, I was at the gig. The BBC broadcast the Milton Keynes show that they did at the Milton Keynes Bowl. In '95, and I was there. So that is all on that REM box set. So I was listening back to the concert, and I remember being at the concert.
Yeah.
And I remember Michael Stipe introducing more or less every song by saying, "Here's another song."
Well, he wasn't wrong. That wasn't the gig with Louis where it was Louise Werner's birthday?
It was Louise Werner's birthday from Sleeper, and she was brought back on stage to have happy birthday.
One of the hotties of the 90s of indie rock. I do like Louise Werner.
So, yeah, I think Sleeper is on my list of BBC.
Oh, is she?
Sessions.
Is she? Is it? Didn't Elastica do a BBC?
Yeah,
session?
They were on there as well. Yeah,
I thought they did.
A lot of the indie bands did, of course.
You don't hear anything of Justine Frischmann anymore, do you?
I think she became a painter.
She
started doing art and stuff.
Well, Louise Venner did kids' books, didn't she?
Is that right?
Yeah. Apparently so.
So that was where my listing went down that rabbit hole.
Oh.
I was also listening this morning on my walk to some tracks from 1968.
The year you turned 14 then, didn't you?
Yeah, and I was listening to a band called Harsh Reality. Have you ever heard of Harsh Reality?
No, I've never heard of them at all.
Now, they were a British band who had, A Whiter Shade of Pale, Procol Harum.
Yeah.
The organ on it. That kind of organ, that kind of Hammond organ is on there, right? The bluesy guitar band, but with a Hammond organ as well. Okay?
It's just you saying organ.
I'm just carrying on. It's like,
I've had this coffee. I've gone hypo. I am literally
Ben's having a Beavis and Butthead moment. Yeah,
I am Cornelio. I need TV for my bunghole.
He said organ. Yeah. So Harsh Reality was sort of bluesy rock. Now they made one album.
Yeah.
And then split up.
Oh, do you know what I makes think of? I found in my collection, I forgot I had it, the Thunderclap Newman album.
Oh, okay.
The worst album cover of all time. I'm just putting it out there.
Bad. That was a pretty bad one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Now, Harsh Reality, they didn't exist very long. Now, their album, because it sold so few copies, I'm trying to work out, Heaven and Hell was their album. And apparently, according to Wikipedia, it now sells for hundreds of pounds between collectors.
Yeah.
And it's now they're kind of infamous. Now, their album had a absolutely cheesy front cover. If you look it up, Heaven and Hell by Harsh Reality,
Yeah.
it's mad.
Harsh
But the
Reality
music's pretty
remind.
good.
Let's have a
Paul Weller covered one of their songs
look.
called
Harsh Reality.
Tobacco Ash Sunday. And they split, and I think one of them went on to become a session musician. And
What's the album called?
Harsh Reality, Heaven and Hell.
Oh, here we go. Oh.
It's similar to early Deep Purple and things like Procol
Is it that
Harum.
cover or is it the other cover?
It's the one where they've all got no shirts on and they look like they're covered in blood. That's the one. Yeah.
Early Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
It does look a bit. It's just so bad the cover, but it's a good album. It's pretty good.
I'll have to give it a listen.
Yeah.
I have to give that. I'm just trying to find because let's see if I can find it on here. I do like a bit of Deep Purple as well.
Yeah, I like.
Look at that. That is
the Joe South song.
the worst.
That early sound.
The worst album cover ever.
Is that the Thunderclap Newman one?
Yeah. I keep thinking it's Pete Townsend, but truly awful album cover. And I found it. I forgot I had it.
It's weird to have one guy standing on his own, and it's a band's album cover.
Yeah. I mean, I think there was another album cover because when bands sometimes do too. That's the other cover for it.
Was that a different territory?
It must have been. Yeah.
Right.
So, but I'm going to have a look into because what were they called again? Heaven and Hell, Harsh Reality.
Harsh Reality.
I might have to give them a little bit of a listen because
it's worth a listen.
Yeah, because who was the band that I mentioned the other week to you and Shoegazer 93 when I gave you the quiz question? Who was the first band to play Glastonbury? Is it Stackridge?
Oh, I don't know. You see, I got the answer wrong because I thought it was T-Rex. I think T-Rex or Tyrannosaurus Rex, as they were called, were at the first Glastonbury.
Yeah.
I don't think they performed first. They were probably that. I think.
Stackridge.
The headline. I think Mark Bolan was the headliner of the first Glastonbury.
Ah, right. Okay. Yeah, I might get.
Perform first.
So, how much did you say the vinyls are going for that album?
Hundreds, allegedly. I don't know much about it, but apparently there's not, because obviously weren't many sold at the time. It wasn't a big hit album, so
that's going to be a pain. I'll tell you what. Shall we have a look how much they're going for?
It's not like Dire Straits' Brothers in Arms.
Well, I've got 4 copies, or I've got 18 copies. Oh, that's the other one. I've got 2 copies of Frampton is Live.
Is that Frampton Comes Alive?
Yeah. Frampton Comes Alive. Yeah. Harsh Reality. Here we go.
That was my Peter Frampton moment.
That was very good, Phil. Right, there's 9 versions. It was released in 1969. The cheapest of the stereo version that was released in 1969 currently is £379. A copy last sold 7th of January of this year for £200. The promo copy, the cheapest, £433. I am not buying a copy. It was reissued in 1990.
I know some people will be aghast at this, but you can stream it now. Just saying.
I can get it for £35, the reissue from 1990, for about £33 from Greece.
Okay.
So, I might. Oh, it was re-released again in 2011. Let's have a look. So
because that's when the CD came out. So they mastered it for CD then. So maybe they released it.
But one hasn't sold in 8 years. Last time it sold was for £15.80. So there can't be that many of them either.
No, there's probably not very many. A lot of the people who've got them are probably holding on to them.
Yeah, well, I don't blame them. Yeah, I might give that a listen to then. So, I like it when you throw a new artist at me that I've never heard of before.
It's a good cult album from the 60s.
Glad you didn't missay that.
It's one of those that, most people in the 60s probably never heard it. Possibly never heard of them.
In the
Even
60s
if
or in their 60s?
well, there would be possibly
But
both now,
both,
wouldn't
yeah,
they?
yeah.
But yeah, it's a cult one that's grown over time simply because of its
Ah,
rarity value.
ah.
Yeah,
Do you want to know what else I've been listening to?
go on.
Well, obviously in the car with my daughter, she sprung one on me. She put Hotel California on by the Eagles. I knew
Really?
all the words.
Is that from? Is that been used in some movie or
It's
something
got
that
to have been, hasn't it? But
young people would know it
she
somehow?
does like throwing in. I mean, she loved. Um, who was the soul artist? Bit like James Brown. A bit out there. Rick, was it Rick?
Rick James. I was about to
Rick
say, yeah, Rick
James.
James.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
went through a period of loving Rick James.
really,
She's
super
been
freak.
she's been through a period of loving Rocky Horror Picture Show. And so she does have this sort of cycle where she loves a certain song. So yeah, we had Hotel California on, and then when I go out for a walk, I do about 5 miles, and my podcast always finishes about 10 minutes before I get from the end. So I've had a couple of songs on repeat. Smokers Outside the Hospital Doors by Editors.
That was the editors. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I really love that.
That's a good song. That title. Smokers outside the hospital doors. I like
Yeah.
that.
The saddest thing that I've ever seen is Smokers Outside the Hospital Doors. I love Tom from the Editor's voice. He's got a real baritone, sort
It's a
of
bit like
unconventional.
Jim
Yeah,
Morrison, isn't it? The voice is deeper than average, and some people don't like it, but it's kind of I don't have a problem with that having a deep voice. Is he also a little bit Scott Walker, like a rocking version of Scott Walker?
that's the other one I had. The Walker
Yeah.
Brothers. What's the album cover?
Okay.
With the white one um with all three of their heads on it.
Oh, what an original album.
Yeah, that's just one I had a
Um,
few copies of. I'll find
oh, I'm
it.
not sure.
Walker. Let's have a look. Portrait.
Okay, this is a '60s one.
I've
Yeah.
got about 3 copies of that as well.
Okay.
So, but yeah, no, I do like the Editors. I've watched over the last couple of days quite a few of their live performances, and yes, I've listened to that. And then on the other, what did you spring up? Oh, "Wannabe" by the Spice Girls. I haven't heard that in so long, and it has not dated well.
It hasn't dated well. I tell you what. I tell you what. In the pop, I've got 2 pop guilty pleasures that I've enjoyed this week that came on,
Yeah.
and I listened to them. And I think they're better than "Wannabe" by the Spice Girls.
Go
Okay,
on, hit me with it, and then I'll hit you with
so
mine.
one of them, is not too is quite I think credible because it's by a very big pop star in the '70s and '80s, and she was
Share.
collaborating. No, she was collaborating with a British-based band, and it was a song that was basically the title song of a movie. That was a very weird film that had Gene Kelly in it. This singer, she appeared in the film as well. She was one of the stars of this film. She'd
Yeah.
already been a star of a massive film musical a couple of years before. She was then the star of this one. And Gene Kelly, from Singing in the Rain,
Yeah.
he was in this film as well. And it was centered around a roller disco that was a 1980s roller disco,
I've seen that.
but it was themed on the 1940s, if that makes any sense. And the whole thing's like a comedy, fantasy, bizarre stuff. Do you know what that is?
And she was big in the 60s.
70s. She wasn't known in.
Donna Summer?
No, she started in the 70s. She was in a massively successful film that was a film musical that's still popular now.
Oh, Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah. And it was Xanadu.
Xanadu. Oh, yes.
With ELO. So I think that's credible. I don't think that's seen as rubbish.
No, I've got a couple of ELO albums I didn't realise I had as well.
The other one is perhaps a little more towards guilty pleasure territory.
Go on.
Swedish pop group with women singers in it.
Cardigans,
Not
ABBA.
not the one, not the obvious one. Not ABBA. Not ABBA.
It's not the Cardigans.
Cardigans. Not. It's not the Cardigans, but it's closer in era to the Cardigans. Around the same time as the Cardigans.
Ace of Base.
That was it. The Sign by Ace of
I
Base.
saw the sign. 1993.
It's very
Opened
catchy.
up the heart, I saw the sign. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I think it's on now 28. I think, or something.
Well, that came on. Something reminded me of that, and I thought I hadn't heard that in years, so I stuck it on my playlist for exercising, and I boogied around to that.
Ace of
That
Base.
was fun.
What a name!
That was
Yeah,
fun.
because you had a bit of a Swedish invasion, didn't you? Because you had Roxette as well, weren't they? Swedish.
They were Swedish.
She sadly
They
passed
did
away,
kind of
hasn't
like,
she?
yeah, they did. They were doing the sort of cheesy American rock power ballad type songs.
Yeah, they were. Yeah,
and these sort of American, almost sort of like Bon Jovi light kind of
yeah.
stuff.
And then
the Cardigans were kind of cool because they were kind of almost a teeny bit towards alternative, weren't they?
they did a Raise and Rewind, didn't they? Which is a good track.
They were seen as a little bit cool, basically. They were just pop, but they were seen as
didn't they do the song from Romeo and Juliet?
I think they did. Yeah, they were seen as cool. Ace of Base was seen as a bit more
Euro pop,
wasn't it?
Yeah.
But it was kind of fun. They had a couple of songs that were fun. I don't know whether they did much more than that.
Oh, I'll tell you a song I heard the other day, which I haven't heard for years, and then I realised I'm glad I haven't heard it for years. Tribal Dance by Two Unlimited. Remember Two Unlimited?
I remember Two Unlimited. Now, are they the ones that
no,
did
no,
There's
no,
Lit-
no, no,
Yeah.
no,
That was Belgian, wasn't it? Was that from Belgium?
No, they were Dutch, I think, like Hadaway.
Dutch, okay.
Remember Hadaway?
Right.
So...
Yeah, I remember Two Unlimited. So they did that there's that one. And there was another one that Two Unlimited did. It was a big hit. What was
Tribal Dance. That was the follow-up single.
I'll probably know that if I hear it. I can't think what that is.
Yeah, you don't want to hear it. I bought it on tape or CD single. It might have been tape. It's god awful. Absolutely dreadful. That Euro pop stuff was. Remember Cotton Eye Joe, Rednecks, that sort of. Yeah.
Is that Europop as well? That was like a sort of line dancing
sort of. Yeah.
Techno line dancing.
I was just about to go techno, 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 techno.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. I remember that.
Yeah. But do you want to know my last track, which I have played a couple of times this week? And when I say a couple of times, 3 times with my daughter and probably 4 or 5 times either in my car or in the house. Do you want some clues?
Sorry, did you say one song?
It's one song. It's time related. And it came out in 2001, I think.
It's time related. What you mean? The theme of the song is around time.
Time, yeah.
You don't mean it was suitable for that time, or it was
no, as in
time.
It's about time.
Time as is referred to.
Time is a big key element of the song. In fact, quite possibly the title. It's in a G minor.
2001.
Yeah.
Is this some kind of ballad?
No. The tempo of it is about 140 beats per minute. Each member has 12 bars and 4 beats.
I was going to say Ride on Time, but that's
that's Black Box, isn't it?
Yeah. Songs about time. Can't think. 140 beats per minute. That's quite fast, isn't it? That's kind of up tempo.
Yeah, it's up tempo. And it also includes a line about an Audi TT.
Can't remember that being in a song. I'm probably not going to know this.
There was a lot of members of them.
Was it the So Solid Crew?
It was So Solid Crew and 21 Seconds.
That's a 21 Seconds to Go.
Yeah. And do you know why it's called 21 Seconds?
I don't.
Because they came up with the track and their record label wanted them basically to make a track that was around 3.5 minutes long. So they worked out that with at least 10 or 11 members because I think there's about 10 or 11 of them in there, but there's actually more than that in the whole So Solid crew. So it worked out that they'd have about 8 bars each, which at 140 beats per minute worked out to 21 seconds. So that's why they've all got 21 seconds. Tut, 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 21 seconds. Tut, tut, tut. I think that's a great piece of garage sort of,
It's garage rap, is it?
2-step garage or whatever it is.
I've never paid it much attention, but is it really worth checking out?
I think it's very good. It's clever the way they do it. I think it's very good. I prefer the album version because obviously the album version's about a minute or so longer. It's even got Lisa Maffia's young child at the start. It's Lisa Maffia, who's only about the same age as me, I think she is. Her daughter, I think, was very young, and she's the one who does that. Ha ha ha! What you laughing at?
Were they from Birmingham or London?
No, London.
They were London, but
yeah, I've met a couple of them because a lad I used to work with many years ago.
Well, there's so many of them; it's probably statistically quite high that you could actually meet one of them.
Well, he knew them all. So when we went down to a house party down Hounslow way, there was a lot of them. I don't know if anybody out there ever watched EastEnders. I only know this because this is but Gus, who used to be in EastEnders, he was a member of So Solid crew. So there was a lot of them. A bit like the Polyphonic Spree. There's a lot of them as well, isn't there?
Yeah.
So, So I've had 21 seconds on, and it does make me... Do you know I have these moments, Phil, where I'm like, oh, God, I miss being youthful.
Wasn't there another band?
There was Big Brothers.
There was another band that had loads of people in it that were Welsh rappers, and wasn't that?
Yeah, Goldie Looking Chain.
Now, didn't they do some song about
guns don't kill people? Guns don't kill people. Rappers, your mama's got a penis.
That was it. Oh, that's not what it was called. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And guns don't kill people. Rappers do. I heard it on a documentary on BBC Two.
I heard it on a documentary on BBC Two.
I think that's a great line. That's up there with
For some reason, that's funny.
That's up there with remember Chris Moyles when he did his parody of Stan? And he had the line in it.
Vaguely. But
he had a line in it where, because obviously the Chris Moyles character is having a pop at Santa. And Santa writes back, like doing the Eminem part. And he's like, my name is Santa and I am hard. I can kill a man with a Christmas card. Yeah,
that's not as good as the documentary on BBC.
No, you need to listen to that. It is good. I did like Goldie Looking Chain at the time. They are still going. They do. They are clever. I mean, a lot of people probably gets irritated. You probably couldn't listen to the album more than once. You wouldn't put it on repeat, but it is clever. I do find comedy. To make a whole album and come up with those kind of raps and stuff is genius. But 21 seconds, tut, tut, tut. What a great track that is as well. There's all that garage scene, wasn't it? Because Craig David sort of kicked it off, and then you had things like Big Brothers and all that sort of, was it they did? New Flow. They also did the song from Scooby-Doo 2. That's about all I know anyway. So, but yeah, that's what I've been listening to this week, Philster.
Yeah, that pretty much covers. I think that pretty much covers everything I'd done. I can't think there was anything else that was that would be of interest to our viewers. Not that anything so far has likely to have been of interest. Mind you, viewer, if you made it this far, then we could probably do anything and you'd watch it.
Yeah, we can do anything. Really. Send £1,000 to www.benneedsyourcash.com.
Should we do something next time that we actually plan what we're going to do and actually do it next week?
Yeah, we can do. Should we review an album?
Which one would you like to review? Have you finished my album of the 90s yet? The Wilco album? Have you finished listening to all of that yet?
I haven't finished all of that yet. We could review... Well, I'll tell you what we could do. We have got the Wilco album and my favourite album, which I'm now deliberating against Good Morning Glory, but I did say the New Radicals, maybe you've been brainwashed too.
That was your favourite album of the
And we
90s.
can do a review. We can do 2 shows, review the albums.
Do you know, I was also prevaricating and thinking whether REM's New Adventures in Hi-Fi is my favourite album of the 90s, but I
Yeah.
didn't say it was at the time. But there's so many that could be.
Yeah, I mean,
Perhaps,
going back to
perhaps
my Morning Glory is my best album of the 90s. But it's like I said before, the New Radicals one is my little,
because it doesn't belong to the public as much as Oasis.
yeah.
It's not as well known. It's your little cult favourite.
Yeah. I hide it away with me. So,
all right. Well, I did listen to that album a few weeks ago, and I didn't dislike it. I quite enjoyed it, but I don't remember it very well. I've only one listen, so
no. Well, I will
I'll
go
have
through
to
the
put
Wilco
it on
album
again.
as well. I will re-listen
Make
to the
some
Wilco
notes.
album, make some
See what you
notes,
think of the whole album.
and we'll be proper music journalists. We might even get a gig at the Guardian. Imagine that, me and you at the
Can you imagine
Guardian.
it?
That'd be brilliant. Possibly. So, yeah, that's it. Till next time.
Thanks, viewer, for watching.
Oh, subscribe.
We will be back.
We've been on 139
that would
for
be-
ages.
We're actually on 140 when I just looked.
Oh, are we? Hello,
Yeah,
new
we are.
subscriber. Maybe we should make a little short video after this to welcome the new subscriber so they feel special and then they'll go and tell their friends.
Yeah, I must admit, I don't know who it is, and I don't know if it's possible for us to know who it is because you can't always see who the person
No,
is.
but we'd do a generic hello new subscriber video, and then when they watch it, even if they're not subscribed, they might subscribe to it and think it's about them. Up here, Phil, you see. This is where the knowledge is.
Thank you for subscribing, viewer. And if you haven't subscribed yet, then we would really love it if you do, because it will then tell you again when we make another video.
Yeah, and you
Whether
can
you wanna
avoid
know
it
that
a
or
lot
not.
easier.
Yeah, this works 2 ways, you see. If you want to watch it, you'll know, and if you want to avoid it, you'll know. So either way, you can't lose. So
We're like sunburn, aren't we? You want to avoid it, but you still go out in the sun anyway. So, just embrace.
there we go. Until the next time, thank you for watching. Bye for now.